It's a common theme that all of the guests that we have on this podcast are friends of Desiree. And this is the best friend of Desiree.
Yeah.
So it's about time we've had you on. Today we have we were joined by Jess, the owner of Exalted Alchemy. She does everything that an herbalist can do. Today we're going to just get a little bit into you and the brand and what you do and your business. So thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much for
I've
being
never
here.
seen professional Steve before.
Yeah.
No,
Professional.
Normally like, what matcha do you want, bro?
No, like, hey, can I do my milk refill this week, please? No, but I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time to be here. We appreciate it very much, and we're super excited to learn about. I don't know much about what you do, so I'm very excited to learn some more about that.
Yeah, and I know we'll get into it.
Yeah, I don't know too much about being an herbalist either.
Yeah.
So if you
although the document that she sent us, like, we probably don't even need to do the podcast, right?
Yeah.
We could probably just read it out and get
so
everything that we need to go. It's a good pitch deck for yourself. Yeah, that's great.
No, it's great. Definitely takes a lot. There's a lot of like back end stuff too, with just like building the business beyond like the making of everything. You know, it's like, I think that's been something I've had to, it just takes a lot of time for anyone, but especially when you do so many different things, or if you're making so many different physical things, there has to be a way to kind of like tell everyone what you're doing, right? And like make it easily translatable and have like a greater amount of accessibility, both direct to customer and when you're working with other people's businesses.
How in the beginning did you deal with, like, because I'm sure in the beginning it's like you're super excited about doing like the herbs and like what could happen from that, but then you realize like, oh, there's this shit ton of work on top of that if there's no business.
Yeah. Honestly,
how did you like create that relationship, like a healthy relationship?
It's just like goes in waves, you know? And like, I feel like at first I was just like, oh my God, I can make everything. And like, I'm a very like all or nothing person. Like if I'm doing something, I'm doing it like all the way. I don't really like half do things or half-ass things. But that's the thing with business, right? It's like you can't do everything at the same time. It's really hard, especially like when you're doing all the different stages of building. So I think having that like grace with yourself that like, okay, this isn't all going to happen at the same time, but we can do everything. So it's like, and even now, like I go through phases where it's like, there will be like a few weeks where I'm just like in super production mode where I'm like making everything. And then I'll go like deep into like the business of it where I'm like creating different like decks that I'll send to like clients or, you know, wholesalers or private label clients, or I'm just like updating or adding new workshops that I want to offer. So like that's something I'll send to like different hotels or spas or wherever. And then, so at the beginning, and it's just such a learning curve, I feel like, with having your own business. It's like, I had a few like entrepreneur friends at the beginning. But I think that was like probably one of my favorite parts about having my own business at the beginning too, was like meeting all these other incredible entrepreneurs. And like now so many of my like closest friends also own their own businesses too. So we are really able to be like, oh, like, did you send your sales tax in yet? Or just like stuff like that is like part of our like day-to-day conversations, you know, pretty much.
Solid. Yeah. That's good to have those support groups.
Yeah, no, it's so necessary, you know, but because doing it without having that is really tough. So yeah, like I feel like at the beginning it's like, okay, so I'm like doing all this production, I'm like making everything, and I'm just like covered in like oil all the time or like plants all the time. And then like it'll be a while I'm like really into like my garden and like planting, and then yeah, it just kind of like goes from there. And it's like, I think that's what's so exciting about having your own business too, is that each piece keeps it so exciting. It's like you can always kind of like do a different part of your own business.
So you want to step back for a second and just talk about like defining an herbalist? What got you into it? Like what brought you to this place?
So I've always like been a little bit of like a wellness junkie, for lack of a better word, but I am like just so into skincare and so into wellness. I went vegetarian when I was 8, and then vegan when I was 18. So like just, and like those were more for like animal, like vegetarian was more for like animal moral reasons. But then when I went vegan, that was like, I was having some health stuff in my like early mid-teen years, and I went to this holistic doctor in the city. I found out I had this like pretty severe like dairy allergy that wouldn't show up on normal testing. Cut out dairy, and actually reverse this like thyroid disorder that I was having. So I think that was really when I started to make the link between like food and diet and wellness and everything. And just, I was always really into like supplements and vitamins. I would always try everything. And then I did my yoga teacher training back in like 2015, which kind of like helped open the door even like a little bit further. And it was in like 2018, 2019. I just like got really into gardening, and I like was loving all my plants. And I had this one moment, I remember I was like watching like one of my like eggplant plants like grow, and like just watching this flower like turn into a vegetable. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is amazing. And from there, I just like did a lot of my own like self-study and like research on different plants, both like vegetables and herbs and flowers, and learning more about their properties. And I was kind of like, I want to take a class on this, and I love like education, like I love learning. So I found this school that I ended up going to for the full length of my clinical program. And it was based in Connecticut. So I just did my first class with them, and yeah, I was studying there for like 4 or 5 years. It was called Twin Star in New Milford, Connecticut, but they've since moved down to Asheville, North Carolina. And yeah, so it was kind of like my process, like getting into it. And then simultaneously, as I was realizing like and learning more about all of the properties of plants that you would like ingest, I would just look at all my skincare and be like, what are all these ingredients? Like, why don't I know what any of these ingredients are? Why can't I pronounce them? Like, what are these words? And just kind of realizing like you just don't need like half the ingredients that are in your skincare. It's like, why is there alcohol in your face oil? Like, that is super counterproductive from just like a formulation aspect and from a production like aspect. And like, if you think about like your skincare, it's like, well, you don't putting alcohol, it just works counterproductively. So that's kind of how I like began my journey with like skincare and like body care formulation. And I don't know if you guys are familiar, but like your skin is like your largest organ, right? So like you absorb so much through your skin, and there's so many beneficial ways to work with plants and engage with plants, and like skincare is one of them. And most of our skincare is actually like doing more harm than good. So that's kind of what also kind of brought me into the skin and body care world.
Yeah, you started real young, huh? I'm curious about how, like what made you go vegetarian at 8 years old. Did you just like love animals, or was that like...
Yeah, and then I just like, it just didn't like make sense in my mind. I was like, why would I eat a chicken? Like okay. Why would, like I was like, why would like anybody do that? Like it never made sense to me. And then I watched like a bunch of videos of animals getting slaughtered on the internet.
YouTube came out.
Shout out meatyourmeat.com.
What was it called? What was it called?
Meatyourmeat.com.
Meatyourmeat.com.
Which I'm sure is like a porn website now.
They stole my idea. Damn.
But at least back then, it was funny. Like all these videos of animals getting slaughtered, and you know, having access to the internet at like 8 years old.
Yeah.
You'll find yourself in some places.
I'm not going to say that we're going to link that in the description.
Please don't. I don't want to put that on anyone, but I do think that like just in general, our society is really disconnected from our food. But like I can take this into like my business too. I think we're all really disconnected from like the drugs we take. And I mean that in terms of like like big pharma pharmaceuticals, in terms of like the stuff we put on our skin, on our bodies, the stuff we eat, vitamins, supplements. It's like we're just so used to taking a pill or even like a capsule, you know what I mean? That like it's interesting even just thinking like of ashwagandha, right? It's like pretty common, it's pretty out there, like well known now, but it's like a lot of people take it in capsule form. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I also think like accessibility is like super important. So like, it's better to take it than not take it. Like, but there is this, still this like barrier there, right? It's like in a capsule, you can't taste it. I think like tasting is like so important. It's like a lot of my training, my clinical training was based in Ayurveda. So there's this principle in Ayurveda about like tasting your medicine or like tasting the things that are going to bring you like wellness or that are going to like help your body, right? And how when your taste buds are able to become activated, it actually helps activate the properties of that plant better within the body. So I've actually found like people I know that take, like I took ashwagandha primarily actually for my seasonal allergies. Took it for 6 months. They're gone, never came back. So for anyone experiencing allergies right now, I highly recommend ashwagandha.
I feel like every year they come out with a new benefit for that. I didn't know.
It's so great. And I will say like there are some contraindications with it. It doesn't work for every single person. I've had people tell me like when they take it, they feel insane, but, and it's just not made for everyone's constitution, but it is great for a lot of people. And yeah, there are so many benefits to it. But yeah, allergies is like one of my favorite uses for it. And, but yeah, I consumed it as like in powder form. And I just think like powder or tincture is always like a little better than a capsule. Just in terms of like having that like body plant spirit connection piece.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's probably a good segue for you to talk a little bit more about your business and what it is, because like a lot of that is like tincture based, right? Supplement kind of based.
Yeah, so I have like a few distinct like lines or categories, right? So I have all of our body care.
I know these. I know all
Do you want to go? Go off.
There's the intuitive ones, like this intention sprays, right? We have, so the intention sprays, there's the facial oils, and then there's the body oils. And then I know there's the ingestible ones, but I don't know enough about them. But I knew a couple of them.
No, you're good. Well, so like, yes, and that was even more than I was gonna say right now. So like, go off.
Over deliver.
I love it.
Talia knows how to train.
Yes. So yeah, but like I have our line of ingestibles, right? And then our topicals, and then I do candles as well. Okay. So within and then I can go like a little bit deeper into each one of these, which I'm sure we will. But for the ingestibles, I have our line of teas, tinctures and elixirs, and then our flower essence blends, which are more for like energetic support, whereas like the tinctures and elixirs are more for like physical ailments, even though both kind of work in like for the other as well. Like there's such a connection between like physical and emotional ailments, but that's just kind of how I explain or like note the difference between the two. And then for our topical line, yes, that's kind of where you went into like a little more detail there, which is great. But we have our intention sprays, mom and baby, hair and beard care, body oils, and then all of our skincare. And then within the skincare, there's like all those like subcategories, like face oils, cleansers, masks,
I really broke it down.
et cetera. No, I'm like, get in there. And yeah, the intention sprays are great. I have our ground spray if you guys want to try
it. Should make
Steven
on the road salesman.
I know, I'm like, let's go. I love it.
Like, whose company is it?
I have Father Earth on it.
Yeah.
Father Earth.
My beard and hair
oil.
It's
so
That's
good.
a good name, Father Earth. You always hear Mother Earth. No,
exactly.
Who is this Father Earth?
Exactly.
Yeah, we should touch on the fact that you have like the best names for all of your products.
Thank you. No, actually, when I was a kid, it was my dream to like, I always thought like the best job in the world was like to name nail polish, because I would always get my nails done like as a kid.
Really?
with my mom.
Tell,
I know, I'm like clearly that has not changed.
You got like a China set on your nails right now.
Yes, it is.
I nailed that.
Yeah,
nice.
you nailed it.
Oh, wow.
But I dropped the mic. I mean, you can't drop the mic, but if you could drop the mic
in the episode there. All right. Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, and I don't know if you guys know, but nail polish all has like different names.
Okay.
Like
all the
every single
individually. Wow.
It's not just like red and blue.
No, it's like it's so crazy. It's like, oh god, I'm trying to think of like a good one. Like I don't know, like funny bunny or like eat this apple. Like it's like it's so crazy. The only thing now is like I don't see the color names as much because I do gel now, so that's a little lost. But anyway, this is not a nail episode. But yeah, so they all have just like these crazy names, and I was like, this would be the best job like in the world. So I feel like I'm kind of like manifested a little bit of that by being able to like make all my own names now. So I definitely have a lot of fun with that. But and then so where do we leave off? I think just
we were going through like the different types of products,
and then the next like category is like all of our candles, which are all moon poured. So each one is poured on either a new moon or a full moon. So on the label of the candle, I know like exactly which zodiac sign and which transit it was poured under, and then a little bit more about like the specific energy going on at the time. So it gets like pretty like detailed and in depth. And then we just have like some of our other like specialty items, and which could be like body sprays, some like ritual care items, like incense, like powdered incense blends, smoking blend. That was also where I would kind of like categorize the like elixir that Des and I made for elixir originally, which was the Earl Grey, which we use in the lavender matcha London fog at Elixir. So if you haven't had that, go try it. It's so good. And we also have to plug it. And we also sell it now too. So it's like it was really fun to like work on that and like develop something specifically for Elixir, but now that like other places and people can use should they want to, like take it home, take your drinks home. So yeah, there's a lot of really fun ways to like work with plants, and I really love kind of like conceptualizing all those different like ways or unique ways to like incorporate plants into your life.
What would you say is like your go-to plant or herb or whatever you want to go to? What's something that you use frequently that you think like really has an impact on your life?
And keep in mind that we only have an hour.
I know. Like it's so hard to like choose my favorite. Keep that in mind
before as you think about
choose my favorite plant. No, I'm gonna keep it pretty simple because
like that you work with that you use for your products and stuff.
I think. So my main thing is like accessibility. I want everyone to feel like they can incorporate plants into their life easily, that it's not going to like break the bank. And if you wanted to like go out and get it, like you easily could. Honestly, Nettles, one of my favorite plants. It's one of the highest plants in like vitamins and minerals. And it's just super safe for almost everyone. I can't think of a situation where it wouldn't be safe. But I just always leave a little room there, but for like it not to work well with like someone's constitution. But yeah, it's just gonna like really infuse your body with like all the vitamins and nutrients, minerals that like you might be missing or lacking. I love elderberry for like helping with like viruses. And honestly, probably one of my favorite plants is like garlic. Really easy to just like get at the grocery store. Like a big thing in my training and just how I work too is like food as medicine. Like just eat some raw garlic. I swear, like I was getting sick and this was a lot, but like I had a lot of raw garlic and I just like never got sick. Like it actually really works. And like it works for like it's anti-everything. It's antimicrobial, antiviral, anti-inflammatory. It's like every anti-thing garlic is. So if you're looking to like get more of that in your life, like that's a great place to start.
I saw an ad for something last night that was like garlic, but it was like garlic with a Q, and it was like you could take a garlic supplement without having like the like.
That's interesting. I would just go to the grocery store and get the garlic.
Yeah, like the robust taste of garlic. You know
what they do, like they could put it in a capsule,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really fascinating. Yeah, like you can just like chew it up, put it like in, like leave it in your lip, swallow it.
Put it in like a lip, like like during baseball. Now I just got to close garlic.
Yeah. No, like you actually could do that. Like dead ass. Like
spit in garlic juice.
100%. Yeah. No, I like. Yeah, I was actually reading recently that there have been these tests done on like, because strep throat has actually been like coming back a lot. Like it's been very prevalent lately. So I was reading this journal article about how strep, I believe it was strep B, but I may need to like fact check this. But so strep, like with strep A, if you just like eat garlic, it will actually like cure it, right? With strep B, there's something in your saliva that like gets lost in there, like that like kind of like breaks away like one of the properties of garlic that would actually kill strep B. But if you use it as a suppository, it won't break it down.
Whoa,
so garlic suppository is coming for you, strep B.
That's got to be the name of this episode, dude.
You want to kind of cut that.
Garlic suppository will cure all your ailments.
And like, I actually can't be quoted on that. Like legally, I cannot be quoted on that.
We got you.
It's actually really interesting. Like, like crazy, legally, I'm not really able to say like medicine. You know, like I'm not a doctor, and I'm not able to like prescribe someone something or like give someone anything to cure something. We're really more able to treat like symptoms.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, it's just like interesting legally with being an herbalist, because we're not really regulated by anyone. So we don't, which is like a blessing and a curse in a way. Like we don't have to put, it's really interesting because we like, without being regulated, there's no one to be like, don't do that, which is great because you have the flexibility and the freedom to like do what you need to do to actually like make an effective product or help someone. But also that means that like other people could just kind of like say they are an herbalist and do something that may not be like 100% safe. So it is important to just like make sure you like really trust who you're going to. And yeah, also without being regulated, like you can't like go get your master's in it technically. And like you can't really go to school for it, but or like the way that other people get like their master's or their PhD, like being a clinical herbalist is like the most that you can do. And like other than like continuing education and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like
you could like walk around with a shirt that says these statements have not been.
Yeah, well that's
the FDA.
That's the thing. Like if I like that's on like every product on my website, I just say like this is not like cleared by the FDA, and like then it's kind of
free
like,
for all.
In a way, I mean, like there are other like specifications there with like how and like where you make things, but that is kind of like the main.
This is important. If you're going to have an herbalist, have one that discloses this information to you. Not
you have to, yeah.
Do you feel like, because I feel like now I don't necessarily think that way, but when I first got into like supplements, I would see something like that and be like, oh, that's a red flag for it. But then like you realize what the FDA does approve of.
I think it's the opposite, complete opposite. That, like if something's approved by the FDA, I'm like, I don't want that anywhere near me.
Yeah.
Like nowhere. And like the other beautiful thing about it too is like with it not being kind of like a controlled substance and like controlled in a way, like the plants are really for everyone. They really shouldn't be governed. It's like it's this kind of thing. It's just like, it's not really for you.
You should be able to do whatever you want with garlic, right?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, exactly. Like if they're gonna if they are gonna make certain specifications around it, it's like it's really disempowering to all of us. You know, it's like there was a big part of my education that was like, we're actually not like learning, you're remembering, because like all of our ancestors didn't have a choice. Like they only used herbs. There was no like quote unquote Western medicine for them to tap into. Like all of our ancestors used plants. Of course that's like different based on like your culture and your region, but everyone, like there's plants for everything. So I do think that it should remain this way, even though there may be like business benefits to like a more regulated system, but it really kind of takes the plants away from the people when that happens.
Yeah, I feel like no matter what the system is, there's going to be people who figure out a way to like take advantage of it, right?
Yeah.
So whether that's taking advantage of the unregulation, or then if it's even more regulated, then people capitalize on that in the wrong ways.
Yeah, totally.
Do you have like specific examples or maybe experiences with customers or with brands or whatever it was where like you kind of had to sell them on the fact like, no, like the fact that my stuff is unregulated is a good thing, versus like
honestly,
people who get...
I feel like usually when people come over, or like when people come talk to me, they kind of know what the vibe is, you know? But I do have to, or like not have to, but I do often like to provide a lot of like education, just like even like on my one-on-one interactions with people when they're shopping with me like in person. I just try to make that like really easily accessible and understandable. I just think like I was saying earlier, there's just such a disconnect between like with people knowing what's going into their bodies. I also think we're really in an interesting point where a lot more people are starting to be like, wait, that's not good. Or like, wait, you know, kind of about like the government or the FDA or whatever. And they're kind of coming to their own conclusions. But I do think people kind of need to come to their own conclusion about something before they engage. I never also want to be like, I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything, you know, like I'm here providing a product and a service. And if people are kind of ready to engage with that, amazing. Like I'm here for you, but I'm not also trying to like shame anyone for being at like a different part of their journey. Like if they are still more comfortable, like engaging with other types of medicine. And also like, I don't knock Western medicine. Like if I need surgery, like I'm going to the hospital. like I go to the doctor. Like I don't like really go to the doctor, but I do go to the doctor. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to go for like any ailment, you know, but like I get a checkup, like, you know, like I do my thing, you know? So yeah.
So like, what would you say some of your, like what are some of the problems that your products are best at solving?
So that kind of depends on the type, right? I, given like what I said at the beginning, I'm really all or nothing. So I've taken it on as like my personal goal or challenge or whatever to be able to kind of like, I don't want to say the word solve, but to have something for everyone. Like if someone comes to me with an ailment or with something they're struggling with, I want to be able to give them an option or give them something to go home with. So whether that's like issues with like their skin, dry skin, acne, whether they're like feeling like overwhelmed or anxious or like they need some like protection, even like from like coworkers at their office or whatever, or whether they're dealing with like not being able to like sleep at night. You know, we've got like some stuff for that. And, you know, I know we talked about this before too, but like with mental health, anxiety, depression, like that's something so many people deal with on a daily basis. So I definitely have a few different products that kind of work in that realm.
If somebody is feeling anxious, what's your recommendation for them?
I usually would ask someone if they want something topical or ingestible, because not everyone is comfortable with taking something internally. That's like, I normally notice with customers or with people when they come to me, they're like, which is part of the reason why I make our line of intention sprays, is like, it's almost like the gateway into this wellness. Like what this wellness space and into herbalism is like people are really familiar with essential oils. So like people hear that and they're like, oh yeah, like I've heard of that before, you know? So they'll come and they're like, that's usually where like, if they're new, that's usually where I'll like point them to, but I'll explain everything to them, but that's usually where they like may end up, or in like a candle. Like those are really safe. They're really like common, I feel like, to see around. So when they see those, they're like, oh, I recognize that. It kind of like, it creates that like synapse in the brain. And then usually if they're kind of like hooked on one of those, that's when I'll kind of like introduce some of the other products as well, like more like ingestible lines. So for anxiety, I would recommend either like our grounding spray or tranquility spray if we're doing topical, or if we're doing ingestible, I would say our Peace of Mind Flower Essence Blend or our Chill Pill Elixir.
There's those names.
Those names.
They are.
Yeah. Very interesting. What degree do you think that, because I'm sure that you get some people who are like what degree do you think it plays a part in like the stuff that you use working in like the person, like you kind of mentioned that I'm not gonna like chase people to do this. Like what part of it do you think plays into that people believing in the stuff that you're doing? Because I'm sure you get people that are skeptical.
Yeah, totally. I think it's like, you're not going to get something if you don't like have a little trust in it, right? Like you work hard for your money. If you're going to spend it, you are going to have like a good feeling about things that you're purchasing, ideally, right?
Hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully, like that's the idea. Like same for me. It's like if I'm going to like spend my money on something, I'm going to like I'm not going to go in with like a pessimistic attitude about it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think there's like a bit of like explaining or like education that like I need to share, especially like with flower essences. Like a lot of people don't know what those are. So I often like explain that to people. And we'll get it, like I'll explain that here too, because I think that's like, especially when we're talking about mental health, it's like one of my favorite things to recommend to people. It also has no contraindications with like medication the way that other things might. Like St. John's wort, for example, is an amazing plant, and it actually works on the same receptors in your brain as like an SSRI medication that like people would take for like anxiety or depression. But so much so that if you are already taking an SSRI, it will actually cancel it out. Oh. So like that is super contraindicated, right, for someone with any like mental health issues that's taking it. Like you wouldn't, like I would be like, definitely don't take St. John's wort if you are currently on an SSRI. But if that's something you're considering like switching off of, or if you're like thinking about going on an SSRI, like yeah, totally. Like maybe you would want to try St. John's wort first or after. But like I also am very much like, work if you are on an SSRI and you are looking to come off, like work with your doctor, and work with an herbalist. Like I'm, again, like I said, I'm not trying to like downplay the importance that like Western medicine can have, and especially like if someone's struggling, like do what you need to do to like be okay, and if for someone that looks like taking a pharmaceutical, then like no shade ever. But yeah, flower essences like are just not contraindicated in any way with like medication, and really work on like the subtle body and like the vibrational body and like help moving things through. And I feel like I went on like a little bit of a tangent from what you said.
I mean, you're a guest on our podcast, like tangent away, dude. You're good.
Just like going off.
You're good. Yeah. No, it's all very informative, Right? My mom has put me onto St. John's wort, but I've never heard that as a benefit of it. That's interesting that you bring that up.
So what were you taking it for?
No, I wasn't taking it. I just mean that like I knew that she was taking it. And that,
okay.
She was like trying to get me to take it, like when I was younger.
Yeah.
She was like, this kid's depressed. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, hello, it's great. It's such a
maybe that's what she thought. Yeah, she just didn't want to tell me. Yeah.
No, it's such a great plant. It's also it's one of my favorite plants to also use topically. And I was gonna mention it before because it really is one of my favorite plants, but just given that there's like contraindications around it, it's not always the most accessible for everyone. But it really works topically amazingly on like muscle tension, pain, inflammation. It's really incredible for like any nerve issues. Like if anyone has like TMJ or like any like nerve stuff, like pinched nerve stuff going on like their hips. I've had clients that have had like nerve issues. Even myself, like I was at the gym and I like nailed a weight back into like my funny bone area.
That's never fun.
It was not fun. But like St. John's Wort like fixed it in like a week. And I just like topically applied it to like my elbow, my arm. It was like in my hand and like it just was amazing. And it's just like super great for skincare. It's super great to take internally for both anxiety and depression, but also it helps rebuild the myelin sheath like around the brain. St. John's Wort, I pair that often with oat tops, like milky oat tops, which same as like oat straw, like same plant, and lion's mane, like all those together are just like really incredible for like nerve health and like repairing nerves like in the body.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
No, I had nerve damage, so I should have looked into that.
I have sciatica.
I broke.
Like St. John's Wort could help me in all sorts of ways.
100%. Yeah. Totally. Your mom knew.
Yeah, she knew.
know?
She was predictive. They always know, though, right?
They do.
She knew all along, right?
Yeah.
Going back to like the names and like your interests in the beginning, or even up till now, like what did you, and did you feel as comfortable kind of sharing that part of yourself like in the brand in the beginning? Was it always kind of like putting it, or did it kind of take you a little while to put yourself into it?
What do you mean? Like which part?
So like whether it's the names or just kind of like the stuff that helps you, or kind of like, because it feels like there's a lot of your personality in the brand itself, whether it's the labeling or like the actual effects of it. Like in the beginning, did you kind of like throw yourself right into it in terms of like your own personal you did? It just kind of it felt seamless for you?
Yeah. It was I don't know, I think like that's part of like the authenticity of like founding a brand, right? Is it's like as like branded, you know, or like as aesthetic as like you can be, or even if you're working toward a certain like brand or aesthetic. I think like a brand that like has some heart and soul, or like same with like a business, is gonna have some of like the founder's personality in it. I think that's how we like keep things like original, you know, and like not super sterile, and like keep things like fun and exciting too. But what I will say is like I almost have had the opposite like issue, or not issue, but like experience where it's almost like hard for me to separate myself from the brand sometimes, especially at the beginning. I'm definitely like in a different place now than I was like even like 2 or 3 years ago. But I definitely remember, it was probably like 2 or 3 years ago. I was like, okay, like I feel like the brand is just like so me, like it almost needs to like have its own life. And I think for other people looking at it, it did. But like for me, being so enmeshed in it every single day, I was like, how do I almost like parse apart myself and the brand,
especially because that's probably a big part of why it was successful.
I mean, I think also vibrationally though, it's like whoever's making the products that you use, whether it's like food or something you take, you know, it's like their energy is gonna be in what you're using, you know. It's the same as like making a drink, an elixir, right? It's like whoever's making that drink, like their energy is going to be in it. Like Dez's energy is in all those recipes because she made them, right? It's like if you go to your like favorite cafe, like favorite restaurant, it's like part of the reason people do things or go places is because they like that interpersonal experience and because like they like the vibe. I mean, people say it all the time, like, you know, the vibe is right. Like we're going there for the vibes. It's like people will go places like if they're going to get a drink or a mocktail or whatever, it's like you'll go just for the vibes of the place, not because even the drinks are that good. Like a lot of the time. And I'm not saying it's like that all the time, but like we really hit that sweet spot when like the vibes are good and the product is good, or like and the food is good or the drink is good or whatever it is. And I do try to like find that sweet spot for Exalted as well.
Yeah, it's important to have that personal touch to things. I've been learning so much about sales lately because of real estate, and it's just like a lot of people try and sell people on fact and logic, and when people are purchasing things, it's emotional.
Yeah,
you put your emotion behind your decision. So like, if you're not selling something that has the intention there, like where it was made intentionally, and you can tell with that product, then it's not going to compare to something that's just like thrown together and like shipped out to sell for money.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, like, not to like gas myself up, but like people will tell me, they're like, I bought this because you made it. And I'm like, that's awesome, but also like, don't do that. Like, and I know it is just like human nature, but I'm like, I want you to buy it because like it works and you like it, and then they will come back. You know?
But
so like that's a testament to it.
But I also think that like there's a good feeling about like contributing to other people. Like there's definitely something different about purchasing your stuff versus purchasing whatever skincare brand is in Sephora or whatever it is, because like they know you, and they also know that like you're using this. They don't know if the person who's selling them that at wherever they bought it at is actually using that and actually believes in it.
Yeah. I mean,
totally.
Think about even just the difference with the candles, the time that you take and the intention that you put behind making the candle, and then like look at something that's like Better Home and Gardens. That's on a conveyor belt, and they're pumping out 100 of them in every 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
There's such a difference between it.
Yeah, no, and even just like thinking skincare, like I just know so many brands. I'm not going to put any of them on blast right now, but
blast them. We need views, blast them. Maybelline, we're coming for you.
L'Oreal,
no, it's like
kills dolphins.
That's the thing. It's like not even Maybelline, right? It's like it's like these brands, like okay, whatever, like Herbivore or like The Ordinary that like people use, and they are like clean brands, right? But it's like a lot of them are like, and I'm not saying this for like every formula. Some of their products like are lovely and great, and like they're not gonna like necessarily harm you, but it's like if you're just buying like a straight rosehip oil from them, it's like they're just like probably getting it from somewhere and pouring it into the bottle. They're not like really like formulating it per se.
It's like the difference for me when I bartended and like somebody uses fake lime juice versus me sitting there and squeezing out the lime juice.
Totally.
It might not might be a pain in the ass to me, but like to you, you're gonna be like, wow, that tastes way fresher.
Yeah, no, and it totally does, and it's just like, and yeah, I don't know. Thinking of like a drink analogy too, right? It's like you could just do like have like a vodka soda, right? I'm like, that's fine. But like you could also have like a blackcurrant jalapeno infused vodka with like this like, you know, bougie liquid death, like seltzer on top instead of just like the bar top soda. And it's like, yes, like with a few garnishes on top. Like that is like when you're using like one of our skincare products, like that would be like my like analogy to like something a bit more like simple. It's like, it's not going to do anything necessarily harmful for you. Like if you're using one of those other brands, like, you know, Drunk Elephant is like huge right now, right? But it's like not inherently like bad. It's better than a lot of other brands out there, but like there's just, you could be getting so much more. Like if you're going through the time and like taking the care to use something every day, it's like you can just get so much more like bang for your buck or like benefits for your skin or your body from just like using something that has like just like a bit more going on in there, like more plants in there. Like it's like it's just the different, like having like a rosehip oil versus like a rosehip oil that's infused with like 5 or 6 other plants, you know?
So what is like the process of making one of your tinctures? Like what goes into that? Yeah.
So tinctures are going to be based with like vegetable glycerin and vodka, or like an organic like grain alcohol. But so that's what I use. It's really just like those 2 main base ingredients, and then all these different plants. So I like making it where they're all together. They're all infusing together in like a big jar versus like having them all infused separately and then putting them together. I don't know. It just makes it like feel like they're all hanging out, and, like, doing their thing together. They're vibing. The synergy is there. It's like doing a whole thing. And And then I usually let that sit for like at least like 2 to 3 months. And then I strain it out, and then it just gets bottled from there. And then each of my products has flower essences in it. So I also have a special flower essence blend for each elixir. So like the sleeping tincture, right? Sleeping Beauty has flower essences that will kind of like help calm your mind before bed. And like, it's another one, like the allergy elixir that I make is like same process, but then the flower essences in there are for kind of like protection, right? Like, so it's like there's a different like energetic element with all of these like ingestible items as well. And then like how I will make like one of our face oils, for example, similar process, but I take a few base oils, usually apricot kernel, jojoba are like some of my favorites to work with. And then I'll infuse that with like a low heat with like 5-10 different botanicals, and then once that's done infusing, I will strain that out. Like I do a double strain, and then I'll add like a few more cold press oils to that blend, and then that also has its own flower essence blend as well. So like for some of our face oils, it's like for like divine presence or like feeling the joy in like your everyday life. Like the beard oil that you mentioned at the beginning, it's like I put flower essences in there for like clarity, both like mental and emotional clarity. So just, you're also getting that like nice little like energetic element when you use your like skin and body care products. And it's not something like that everyone's going to really notice, but like I know it's there, and like it makes me feel better about like
what you're putting out.
What I'm putting out. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm picturing your prep space as like a mad scientist. There's just like jars of all sorts of different stuff everywhere.
I got
Is that accurate?
Yeah, pretty accurate. Yeah.
You're basically running a distillery. You're just like putting out good vibes.
I didn't know that alcohol was the base.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, actually, how you make a hydrosol is like a similar process of like distilling alcohol. It goes through like an alembic still, and you put flowers with water, and then that like goes through that distillation process, and out the other side is how you get flower water and then essential oil. That's what rises to the top. So when you remove the essential oil from the top, you kind of like scrape it off. You're left with flower water and like hydrosol. Oh. So you use that. That's like what you'd use in cocktails, but it's also what you spray on your face. Rose water.
Interesting.
I'm curious to ask you, because this is a mental health podcast. I'm curious, like, what your experience has been with using specific, maybe your own products or something you learned from somebody else. Yeah. In terms of how that's maybe helped you in your work-life balance or in any other areas.
Yeah. And so this is where I'll bring like flower essences into the conversation a bit more in depth. So in addition to being a clinical herbalist, I'm a flower essence practitioner. So I did a separate training for that. And I'm also certified in like a few other things like Reiki and sound and like ear, like I did like an ear acupuncture training. And but yeah, flower essences are just like, I just think they're such a special form of therapy. They work energetically on like energetic and emotional patterns in the body. So I always like to start out explaining flower essences by explaining how you make them. You take a flower and you put it in a dish of water in sunlight for 2 to 6 hours, depending on like the strength of the sun. If there's more sunlight, you probably need a little less time. If there's less sunlight, you need a little bit more time. You can also do this under moonlight. You can also do this with like different mushrooms or different crystals, or like I've seen people do it with like honeybees too, like putting water like on top of like a hive. And are you guys familiar with like how water has memory? Yeah.
No.
I was like, you're giving me like kind of a blank nod.
Not necessarily, no. No. But maybe you can explain it more. But
no. Well, I'll explain it regardless. But
the water's like, my mom hurt me so bad.
No, but like that is the thing. Okay, so there's this Japanese doctor. His name's Dr. Emoto. He did all of these studies on water.
I tried to bring this up to you when I told you about the crystallization of water. Is he right on it?
That's what you mean.
Yeah. No, I have his book too. Like, it's great. You can just like, I mean, I can like look it up right now and show you, but basically like
I didn't realize that's what you meant.
They did all these tests with like Tibetan prayers or like heavy metal music or like saying I love you or saying I hate you or like all the huge spectrum of like they did like Mozart and like Bach, like their symphonies, whatever. But like, and you can see the crystallization of the water change. So it's kind of like, imagine like a snowflake, right? Like how there's all these different like snowflake like styles dials, vibes, like whatever. And like the ones that like were like I love you, or like Mozart, or like prayer, are like so beautiful, and they're like perfectly, like imagine it like the most perfect snowflake. It looks like that. And then like for like I hate you, or like you know, no shade to heavy metal music, because I'm sure that like for some people that is healing, but like when they played heavy metal music, it like looked crazy, like like it was not in
no, like I've heard
the
it
proper
about
structure.
About like plants, that like one of them they like
Same
were super
thing,
nice to it, and then the other one they talk shit to it, and the one died because
and it dies and it like thrives. So it's the same concept. So it's like you have to think about this with like plants and our bodies, like physically we're made of so much water.
Everything is water.
Everything's water. Like everything is water. Yeah, no, totally. So when you say things to your water or other people, like it really means something. And same idea with music. So let's apply that same like thought process to flower essences, right? So you take this flower, and every plant has a different like vibration to it, right? Like just how every plant has different like physical properties that it's good for, like when you put it in a tincture, like when you infuse it into an oil, or like garlic, all the properties of garlic, right, that we talked about. They also have energetic properties as well. So when you take that flower, you put it in this dish of water. I'm also like, you can't really touch the flower, because then like your energy is gonna like kind of like potentially throw off the energy of the plant. It's also not supposed to have any shade go over it. It's just supposed to be direct sunlight, flower, water. And then like the UV rays and like the intensity of the sun, kind of like imagine it like going like through the flower and like into the water. And the water, like via that process, quite literally catches the vibe of the flower. And now you have your mother essence. That's what it's called. So, and then you like stabilize the mother essence, and you mix it with brandy, and then, or like another like really clean alcohol. And that's just how you stabilize the mother. So it can live, like it can be good for like 10 years, up to 10 years. But then from there, it's like, it's essentially homeopathic. So you dose it out from there. So I'll take like a few drops of the mother, and I'll put it in another bottle that's like with pure brandy. And then that's called the stock. And then from there, I take that and I will add that to another bottle, which is like our dosage, which is called a dosage bottle, or like a face oil or a spray, or like whatever we're using. And that's what you would take internally. So you take a few drops of the stock and put it in that dosage bottle. And I do our dosage bottles that are just vegetable glycerin and an alkaline water. So they are, I do kind of always explain the process for anyone that's like sober, or like doesn't partake in like alcohol consumption, or for
that was going to be the next
children.
question I asked. I was curious about that.
So the alcohol content is so minuscule in there. It's like 0.000, like it's just so small that like it is safe. Like it is safe, like for someone that's like,
don't I can't be having you relapse.
Yeah, so it is safe for like anyone that's sober, or and for children. But I do kind of like always explain it, just because I don't want it to, but like there isn't really alcohol, like there's really no alcohol content in the actual dosage bottles. But anyway, when you consume the flower essences from there, each one, as I mentioned, works on a different human emotional condition or pattern. So as you asked, like my personal experience with it, I really like, and at first, even like I'm pretty woo-woo, and I'm like into like energy and like all this stuff. I was like, is that really gonna work? I was like, how's that really gonna work? You know what I mean? It didn't like fully, like I didn't fully get it. And I think like it's one of those things you need to experience it. And so I was taking during my training, I was working with elm, which is good for overwhelm. Get it? Elm, overwhelm.
Got it.
A lot of times the plants will tell you what they're good for. You just need to listen. And like I realized, like I learned, like my anxieties were mainly coming from me being overwhelmed. And that I was like, and I also wasn't like fully aware of breaking my own anxiety down like that. I was like, yeah, of course I have anxiety. Like everyone has anxiety, you know what I mean? But like, I was like, oh no, like I'm just hella overwhelmed, you know?
Yeah.
And working with Elm, and I was like in my training, and we all were kind of paired with one another. And it was my like classmate that kind of like made this blend for me. And it was also like walnut and honeysuckle. Honeysuckle is really good for like staying in the present moment, and walnut's really good for like times of transition. And at that time I was like going through a lot of like personal changes, life changes, and just like the combination of those three was like life-changing to me. And with Elm specifically, just gonna like touch back on that, but like you really also notice it like over time. Like I remember after I was taking it for like 2 or 3 months, like I don't even remember what happened, but there was like some situation that was like would have normally really overwhelmed me, and I was like, hold on. I was like, I'm like good. And then I was like, that's kind of sick, you know? And then like, so that was just like a really pivotal moment for me, just like in working with the plants and working with flower essences in general, my own personal experience, and just with myself and like with clients that I work with, like one-on-one for like I'll do custom flower essence blends and consultations for people as well. And like, I've just seen people like really work with like an emotional pattern, and then there's like certain essences that will figure out for them, and then like I don't know, you kind of move from like survive mode to thrive mode in a way where you're like let's say you're going through a breakup, right? It's like at the beginning you're like dealing with all of these like attachments, like maybe like self like resentment or anger or whatever. It could even be the same with like death, you know, if we're talking about grief, right? So it's like there's a lot there, and then there's like a flower essence specifically for each of those like emotional patterns, and essentially like it helps move that vibration out of the body. So like if there's trauma in the body, like we are probably all here familiar with the concept of like trauma getting stuck in the body, and like it's like, how do you get that out? You know, like that's energy, and it's like there's so many ways to work on that, right? So it's like there's therapy, there's body work. Like for me and like my personal experience, like I've moved through like doing body work and Reiki and acupuncture and talk therapy, and then flower essences is like another really like major component for that. Like it kind of like softens everything and just kind of like helps it move through the body, whether it's like a specific emotion, a pattern, a trauma, whatever. But they can also be used for like, let's say you're like, I just want to like celebrate right now, or like speak my truth, or like have more confidence. Like it's really great for like balancing any imbalances, or basically like they flood your body with like the highest vibration of the plant. And then when you think about it, like the flower is the highest expression that plant can reach. So when you kind of capture the vibration and the essence of that exact moment, and when you use that with like your own personal like constitution, that's how it helps like move things and like get those plants like in the body, in your spirit.
This has got to be the most informative podcast we've done so far.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I'm like really going in.
It's like, it's great because this is what we're here for. We would ask somebody that's an expert at something to come sit down and talk about it, and you're crushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do we got here? Tell us what we have right here.
Okay, so I just brought our ground spray today. Yeah. Can I get up? Can I spritz you guys? Is that okay?
We're gonna be able to stand up, right? It's not gonna like ground us down. Oh boy.
This is usually what I do. I call it like a little back treatment.
I'm just gonna like give you guys a spritz. Like normally, like if you're standing up, I'll go like around your body, but I'm just gonna go kind of like front of you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna spritz. Take like a nice deep breath as we spritz, and just like close your eyes.
All right.
And just, like. Okay, there we go. But yeah, so this is
Fabads.
Yeah.
This is pine, rosemary, and lavender.
This is our first demonstration in a podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crushing it.
Okay, so this is our grounding spray. It's like it's intended to just kind of like make you feel like you're in the woods. And not even like, smell too, but just kind of be like, yes, I'm just like, my feet are touching grass. You know what I mean? Like that's the vibe. So it's scented with pine, rosemary, and lavender essential oil. And then the flower essences are walnut, elm, aspen, and clematis. So walnut is really great for like times of transition. So usually when you need that like grounding vibe, it can be when you're kind of like having a lot going on. Elm, we just talked about at length. So one of my favorite essences that's in there. And then aspen is really great for fear of the unknown. So like I feel like a lot of people's anxiety comes from like just not knowing what's going to happen. And uncertainty.
Absolutely, we all deal with that.
But it's like that literally is life. Like you can't have life. You cannot be alive and have no uncertainty. Do you know what I mean?
Have any idea what would happen? Yeah, it's one.
You have literally no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah. Even if you think you know what's going to happen tomorrow, like it's just like that's just not how life works. Like we are constantly in the in-between. And
why do you think that's so hard for us, Jess?
I mean, I've done my fair share of therapy, okay? So like,
all you have to do is get her to spray the thing to talk about. There you go.
You know? No, but it is.
Why?
I mean, I think like, honestly, I think a lot of that comes from like pressure from like the internet and friends and people thinking they know what is going to happen. You know what I mean? I think when other people think they know what's going to happen or I think we're all craving like some type of security, you know, and there's never security. Like the only security you have is yourself. And like, that's it.
Yeah.
Amen.
And the products of Exalted Alchemy.
Well, that too.
What about the candle?
And then also just there's clematis in here, which is really grounding. And then
it's a Gemini full moon.
Yes, I brought that one because it's a connect candle. So I thought it would be really good for the podcast, right? Like you're connecting, we're doing connection. And then it's a Gemini full moon candle. So, and we're in Gemini season. Right. Just perfect for this like mercurial chit chat we've got going on. Yeah, JP, do you want to read the energy?
Sure, yeah. You've got mental integration, trust, gateway to change, personal mindset, inspired action, truth, curiosity, broadened perception, self-care, and open communication.
There you go.
It doesn't get better than that.
Right. So light it, and that's what you got.
Now it's got your signature on here and everything.
Yeah, that was a cute little motif that my friend helped me get on there.
Also burn safely and with insight.
Have to. Got to be safe. Safety is very important.
Yeah. All right. So this has been great.
Yeah, this has been very informative.
As just want to make sure that we get all of your information out there for everybody and where to find you. I know you can be located in the Beacon Farmers Market every Sunday, whether she likes it or not. She's there.
I actually wasn't there the past 2 weeks.
But where else can we find products from you?
Yes. Okay, so on all platforms, it's just going to be at Exalted Alchemy. Same with our website as well. So that's EXALTEDALCHEMY, exaltedalchemy.com is our website. Exalted Alchemy on Instagram. Those are our main two platforms. You can shop the full collection online. You can shop the full collection with me in person. I am at the Beacon Farmers Market * most Sundays. I do have a life other than that. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, most Sundays I'm there, and then I do a lot of other like pop-ups and events too. I was just about Field and Supply in Kingston, which is like a really beautiful like market, lots of great like brands there. So I do like other festivals and like markets as
and you'll travel to festivals too.
Yes. Yep. For a good one. For the good ones.
Yeah. So reach out if you got something. She'll come to you. Just make it worth her while.
100%. And then I also do like private label with various like brands, spas, hotels. I also do like workshops, mostly corporate or private. And yeah, I have our whole line available for like wholesale, for like retailers as well. And yeah, so that's super fun. You can also shop the line in stores locally. So we have a really beautiful selection of the line at Elixir. We work with Après Maison up in Kingston, depending on where you are, Madex Hudson and like Catskill and Hudson if you're in the Westchester area, Majestic, Hudson. Those are just like a few of our retailers. But if you're in the Hudson Valley area, yeah, we love our local retailers. Support small business.
People too?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
So
Okay.
everything's online.
Gotcha.
We do like a good amount of e-commerce for sure.
We've got some listeners in like the Philippines and Canada.
We have one guy in the Philippines. So they listen to like every episode.
Okay. Hell yes.
Yeah.
Well,
22 countries.
Whoever that is, I am
220
looking at you, and I better have an order from the Philippines. But yeah, so yeah, everything's available online. Website is another like that was a whole journey just getting it to where it is. So we spent a lot of time like making the website really easy to use, really like user friendly with like all the information on there about every product. So it's really important to me that like if I'm not explaining the product, that people can know what it's for, how to use it. Please take a look online. And I'd love to ship you some good stuff.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jess. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
And who thought we'd be here?
Who thought we'd be here?
Thanks so much, Jess.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah. Go buy Exalted Alchemy,
Hey.
All right.